The photo goes live now. Okay.
You're giving me 200, 600. Where is he going to get that money? Like, he's broke like now. Again. It's punk laugh. What the? Is that not to spend
So
money? This one. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
so maybe we can reduce on the sound because I think it's now live. Huh? It's showing that it's live. Okay. Yes, Louis. Okay. Yes, Louis.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm trying to reach out to the others so that we can now start. We have Nora. Nora is in.
Okay.
Yes, I'm in.
I cannot see anybody else. Okay.
Okay. Let me just try to reach out to Mr. Harrison Wenda and these other guys.
All right, sure. Is O'Brien in?
Brian, it's not yet.
What about Mr. Mungalaba, lecturer?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I took them.
Percentage at 6. It's a continuous class.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we can now join. Okay. Yes, Louis.
I am right here.
Yeah, so Mr. Mwenda is about to join in. Then what will be having, yeah. Abel is also going to be joining in soon. Yeah. I think we can start. Okay. Okay. So can we start and then they'll be able to the rest will be able to join us?
Yes, we can hold on just a bit. Yes, we can start.
Okay, we can start.
Welcome to the Science Exploration Zambia 2020 Virtual Summit. The future of science begins here.
Hello, am I
We
audible?
are happy to be a part of you as we share the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics agenda. The Science Exploration Zambia aims at advancing our society through science-related programs including technology, engineering, and mathematics. To discover more to the world of science, stay tuned and listen to our intellectuals. Welcome aboard.
Okay.
It's a big welcome to everybody this afternoon. Before I go any further, I want to ask my panelists, can you all hear me? Can you say one word? I want to know if you are audible enough. Hello?
Louis Mwem, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Harrison Wenda.
I can hear you. This is Abdel.
Okay, Abel, thank you. Edwin. Okay, Abel, thank you. Are you here? Edwin.
Yes, I can hear you. Very clear.
Great. Nora Shabu, welcome aboard. Can you hear me? Great. Nora Shabu, welcome aboard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and we have Caleb Winemo. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Okay, and we have Caleb Winemo. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah, I can get you clearly.
Okay. We are still waiting for another two people. We are still waiting for another two people to join us. There's an echo. Can you guys get my echo in your backgrounds? Oh, can you
Yeah,
guys
I
get
can
my
hear
echo
that.
in your backgrounds? Yeah, I can hear that.
Could it be that it's streaming on two platforms? Someone is streaming it on two platforms, on two gadgets maybe, and then getting a.
On two gadgets maybe, then getting a. Or perhaps has anybody logged in twice? Has anybody logged in twice? Any one of us?
Yes. Abdel is one of them.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you Okay, can you mute the other one that you will not be using? Sorry, I can't hear you. Please okay.
Okay, how is it now?
Okay, how is it now? I can pick your echo here. I can pick your echo here.
Okay, so we have Nora Chabu
Okay, so we
back.
have Nora Chabu back.
Yeah, so
Okay, are
cue
we
off
good now?
background
Hello,
noise.
good afternoon. Yeah, so okay, are we good now? Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go.
Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. You were saying something about background noise. Is there something we can do about that? Is there something we can do about that?
Yes, Louis.
You had mentioned something about background noise. Is there something we can do about this echo?
I don't know, but I'm able to hear you twice on your end.
Okay. To all of us, in case you have logged in twice, I can hear my echo. It's a bit disturbing. So can you please reduce on the second device you might have logged in with?
Oh yeah, so I was saying I think the rest of us can switch off our microphones.
Yeah, I think the best thing is to switch off our microphones, and then we'll be able to pick it up when she asks a question.
Okay. We shall go right into our summit. We had a little bit of a problem with our background noise, but we are good to go. So everybody out there, welcome aboard and welcome all to the 2020 Virtual Summit. It is today, the 21st of December, with the Science Exploration Zambia. I am Louis Moema, and I am joined by an amazing panelist and more. How do we do? Hi, everybody. How are we doing?
Very well, thanks, Louis. How are you?
I am good, thanks. I am well, thanks. Welcome aboard. It's going to be a beautiful evening. Please, sorry, pardon me. It is going to be a beautiful afternoon. Please enjoy, okay, and be as interactive as possible. Before I go any further, I am going to give the floor to Caleb Munemo. Caleb will just introduce the SAES, Science Exploration Zambia, and tell our listeners what exactly this is. He too will introduce our panelists and we can get right into our program. Caleb, please, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Louis. Welcome aboard, everybody. Thank you for sparing your time to just join us for the SAYS Virtual Summit 2020, the STEM agenda. So, as you all know, Science Exploration Zambia is a STEM-based organization aimed at advancing science, being one of the lead STEM organizations that will spearhead the advancements of science in our country. I'm very, very honored to be hosting people like Engineer Harrison Wenda, Abel Fumpa, Edwin Sumfukwe, Nora Chabu, and so many, many speakers that are going to be joining us in a short period of time. So before we go any further, I would start with Engineer Harrison Wenda. Maybe just introduce yourself to the people out there so that they get to know more about the highly esteemed Harrison Wenda that's going to be speaking to us this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Caleb. As rightly put, my name is Harrison Wenda. I am an electrical and electronics engineer by profession. I've been an engineer for the past 5 years. I trained at the Copperbelt University. I'm experienced in the academic world.
Harrison Wenda must have had a little glitch there. Caleb, can you just go through his background a bit, and then we can move on to the next speaker.
Okay, Mr. Harrison Wenda, you had a bit of a glitch, so couldn't really get your feedback.
Okay. I will ask the next person to just briefly introduce yourself. Please, we have engineer Edwin Sim Fukwe. Please take the floor and just tell us who you are.
A minute. Uh, okay, thank you very much. My name is Edwin Simfkwe. I am very humbled. First and foremost, I'm very humbled to be part of the SAYS Virtual Summit. I'm really humbled. With a brief introduction, I am a student. I'm a nuclear power engineering student at the National Research Nuclear University in Russia, though we are currently studying online due to the pandemic. I think that's a brief introduction about myself. Thank you very much.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much, Edwin. Sorry, Louis, I actually had a problem. Really don't know what's happening with the network. Trying by all means to stop us, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're actually actually going to do it. So I'll now I'll go to Abel Fumpa. Maybe just give us a brief background about yourself and what you're currently doing, so that people get to know um, Abel Fumpa that's going to be speaking to us this afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Caleb, and also humbled for the privilege to be speaking at this summit. So my name is Abel Fumpa, or Ebo as some may pronounce it, and I'm currently studying at the Copperbelt University. I am an electrical and mechanical engineering student. Yeah. So I think that's it about me. I think that is as far as I can go for now.
Okay, thank you. So quickly, Nora Chavu, maybe tell us more about yourself.
Thank you so much, Caleb, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of this great summit. My name is Nora Chabu. I'm a Cavendish University student. I'm studying Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery. And I'm also the former JETS president, that's Junior Engineers, Technician and Scientists, yes, at Arakanidel Secondary School. And the president of Generation of Progressive Youth, an NGO that works with young people in promoting mental health in Zambia. That's a brief background of myself.
Okay, thank you very much, Nora. O'Brien, maybe you'd give us a brief background about yourself and what you're currently doing.
Hello, everyone. My name is O'Brien Siamambile. I'm at Cavendish University, medical student studying Bachelor's of Medicine and Surgery. I am also an artist. I'm a musician. I play violin and piano. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
No. Okay. So I will now be giving back the floor to Louis. She now takes over from here. Thank you. So seems like Louis is also experiencing bad network, but I think we're having her back. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Louis, you can now take over and you can start. I think everyone is done with the introductions.
Okay. All right. You are welcome aboard once more again. This is going to be an exciting afternoon as we look at the STEM agenda. To our audience out there who are tuned in to our Facebook channel, YouTube channel, What STEM stands for is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Okay, we have so many questions we will address this afternoon to the panelists. There are questions that are open to all of you. Okay, so I may ask a question and I will tell you it is an open question. That means any of you can answer the question. However, there are other questions that will be directed to each one of you that you will answer. And if you feel that you want to add more to what one of the panelists has said, then please feel free and go ahead. Okay, let this be as interactive as possible. Let's get right into it, shall we? um, my first question looks at the approach that we have to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And my first question is an open question, so anybody can take it. All right, here it goes. As of today, as of this minute, how does Zambia approach science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? What do Zambians define STEM as? Anybody?
Okay, I think I can take it up from there. Once again, my name's Abdel Fumpa. Uh, yeah, so how does Zambia define STEM? So basically, I think from a general perspective, especially with regards to the general populace, the Zambian citizenry, I think STEM is basically science. It's science to them because most of them, I'm sure, uh, at first glance, or when you just ask them what is STEM, they will tell you STEM is anything that's related to science, anything that's related to math. But of course, it is more than that. Yeah, it comes with the benefits of it. Besides it just being the science, the scientific part, the mathematical part, the math that we learn in class, and the science that we learn in class. It is more than that. It also looks at which greater extent does it go. So that is STEM. So I think as we go into the discussions, I'll be able to shed more light on what I mean. It is more than just the science and the math. It goes beyond that.
Okay.
So for now, I think
Okay.
we can end there, then others can pick it up from there.
All right. I love how you say that it is more than just science. There's more to it than just science. Thank you for that, Abel. My next question was to be directed to our lecturer who is not yet on board. So I'll move on to the next question. Okay. Before that, um, as Abel put it, we or I love to think of STEM as more of an action word, a verb, than just the noun STEM. Okay, that is, there is more to it than we just claim or we just call it. There's more to it than just saying that, okay, I belong to STEM and I know what STEM is. There is the application. What are we doing with the STEM? So my next question is directed to Nora Shabu. Okay, I have to ask you this, Nora. How do we go beyond the usual standards of STEM, all right, and bring a STEM culture to our society?
Thank you so much, Louis. So to answer that question, I feel as Zambians, like in our country, for us to go beyond just talking about STEM and everything like that, I feel we have to be very practical. um One thing I've realized is that we do have, we do learn about all this science, we do learn about
Mhm,
so many things, but when it comes to young people accessing these things that they are learning, it's something that's very rare. We have so much theory and very little like to practice, or very little that we can put like to use or put it like in a practical world. So I feel if we are to advance and grow in this field, I feel it's high time that our country takes up, all these practicals, like they take them very
mhm,
seriously, because I feel it's much more like, it's so much of like I feel the benefits are much more, unlike just learning, where young
okay,
people are just taught, they learn about all these they are taught about certain diseases, they're taught about so many things. And when it comes to the practical part, they don't do anything. So I feel like our young people are living like an imaginary world and less of practice.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are to go beyond this, I feel it's high time young people have to go to work and have to practice what they are learning. And in that way,
Okay.
I think new discoveries are able to be made or achieved. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Nora. What hit me so hard was how you said it's as though we are living in an imaginary world. We are told that science is anything to do with, solving problems. It has to do with experiments. But then, are we conducting these things? O'Brien, please answer this for me. What does STEM mean to the educational system? Look at our educational system as Zambia. What should STEM mean to our education system?
Uh, to me, I think what STEM should mean to our education is exploration, exploring uh, this science, exploring technology. You will realize that in this country specifically, people who say to study things like, for instance, science or technology or mathematics, it's on the basis of they get job, they get, like, so that they can get a job, they work, they earn money, not really to exploit, not to investigate things. You see the difference if you want to work just to get money and to work so that you understand how things work. It's different. Okay. And that is where I feel this country is in that direction, which I feel is wrong. I mean, of course, I understand that things are hard and, all those kinds of things, but I feel it should be understood as a thing that should be exploration. You explore to understand things and become independent in what you are doing.
Great. That's amazing. So it should be something we explore, the science exploration. Caleb, did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. Interesting, huh? Yeah,
So there's more to exploring than just claiming that you know what science is. Huh.
yeah.
Edwin Simfugwe, we have not heard you say anything on what we have discussed so far. What do you have to say on what we have talked about so far? The education system applying science to our lives daily.
All right. I think uh, I've gotten what everyone has said. It is on point. But to just add on, I'll just say like our education system in Zambia is more of theory than practical.
Okay.
No wonder we are lacking behind as a country. Yeah, because for instance, let me put it when you compare us with the Western countries, you find out that in the Western countries, even a high school student or high school pupil can come up, or rather can be innovative to come up with something compared to here in Zambia. Here it's just theory and not more of practical. And we all know, and you all bear with me, that innovation is actually key to development of any country. So we should do more with practical than theory. I think I will add more as questions keep on coming. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you for
Maybe
that.
on that note, yes, maybe on that note, let me also say something. You see, what is making us as a country to lag behind in terms of scientific and technological development is also, I think, policies, how our governments make policies or what they understand by development. Look, for instance, I think all of us should have gone to JETS, when you go for JETS in high school. You look at projects that pupils there make, they're no, those projects are really great projects. If you take time to look at most of those are really good projects. If they can be made on a larger scale, that is a development. But in this country, what we the defining factor of what development is good roads, good infrastructure, and all of those things. And then we tend to not consider things like the innovation that the young people are doing. Okay, so if I feel if those projects that students or pupils make, if they can be taken into account, that is what is good development. How are the Chinese developing? Those are pupils who are making all of those uh, projects that they are making, which their government takes on a bigger scale. So I feel if we do that, I mean, that is what would be called science. I mean, that is what it is. That is the exploration that I'm talking about.
Okay. Thank you for that. So we already have our answers in our hands. It's literally children in if you see the Chinese movies, these are just movies in fact, and also reality. Okay, let's move on to reality. If we look at the Chinese reality, it is children who are making robots and then the adults buying these robots and modifying them to what we are admiring. But guess what? It's from a mind of a child. And guess what? Our children are doing the same thing. Thank you so much for that, O'Brien. I feel like you have answered a part of the next question that we have. Welcome back, Mr. Harrison Wenda. We have already started our session, but I'm glad that you are a part of it because your question comes up soon.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you so much.
It's all right. We're going to move on to the next question to all of us. This is an open question, so we are all allowed to answer it. All right. The question is, what modifications are needed to better our approach to STEM? So O'Brien already answered part of it, but I feel there's something more that we can have to this. What modifications are needed to better our approach to STEM? It's an open question. Anybody can answer it.
Okay. There's there's a saying that has become cliche, and it goes, "There is fun in learning. There is fun in learning." So I don't know if anyone has mentioned this already as an answer. I don't know. I'm sure. I think Caleb or somebody has spoken already. So one of my contributions is lies in the same in the same saying. There's fun in learning. So I think the way science is taught or is communicated in our country and in African countries in general is 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 a bit serious and a bit unrelated to the mind of a child. So in many countries, especially you have Louis has talked about China, she has talked about Japan, where children are making robots. You see, they've tried to make science a fun thing, so that people, children are attracted to it in the same way they're attracted to football, they're attracted to video games. It's they've made each and every.
Mhm.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are. You're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So they've made each and every science program more like a game, something that is entertaining. And while the children are playing these games, they're being entertained by them, they're grasping the concepts and they're being addicted to science. They're seeing science as something that is fun, something that is fascinating. And then I think apart from the fun side, we should emphasize amazement. We should emphasize amazement. People should find pleasure in being amazed. Children should find pleasure in being amazed. Instead, so if we implement such a thing, children will look forward to science because they want to be amazed. They want to see the wonders of science. They want to see how experiments can turn out into something that can amaze them. So, in a nutshell, from my part, those are the two contributions I can give to that question.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Harrison Wenda. Um, that's amazing. Is there anybody else who would like to add on to what Mr. Mwenda has
Like
said?
to add on to what Mr. Mwenda has said. Yes, yes. Um, Adding on to what Engineer Harrison Mwenda just said, though my answer will be brief, clearing out the myths behind science in Zambia. Like there are myths behind science in Zambia, like that are communicated, and that people think that science is a very hard, complex, and complicated field of study. So that itself has hindered a lot of youths to take STEM related field as their career because they fear that it is a hard course or it's a very complicated subject. So I think we need to clear out those myths behind science. I think that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Edwin. Thank you. We're going to move on to our next question. Okay. And it has to do
I
with
actually
our
wanted to come in with
university.
a contribution. Okay.
Oh, Abel has something to say. Okay, you can go ahead,
Sorry about
Abel.
that.
I'll give you the floor.
Okay. Yeah, though my contribution is equally brief, but then it's more of an addition to what Mr. Harrison Mwenda and Edwin have just added on. So I think one of the things, or rather the misconception that we have as well as Zambians, I think is the fact that we think that Zambians are not innovative. I think that is the first misconception that we have as Zambians. We think Zambians are not innovative, which to me is not true. I think the main area or where we lack as a country is on the part of the implementation, because I think personally I've seen people with so many brilliant ideas, so many brilliant projects, but then at the end of the day, the projects just keep on getting powered. I said getting powered because they do not go anywhere at the end of the day. Uh, you take them to a Jets fair. At the Jets fair, you win an award, you get a certificate. Yes, quite all right. You're happy about it. It is an achievement on your part. But where does it go from there? Did you innovate such a thing to just get a certificate or what? You see it. So I think we should do more on that. I think it shouldn't be about us just getting the certificate. I think we should extend our innovation from the Jets fair, then it goes on. I think that is where I come in with the issue of implementation. So if I think the government can do more, not to point fingers or to say they not do anything, but what I'm trying to say is I think we should take away the misconception of saying Zambians are not innovative because, like I said, we have seen that Zambians are able to, are capable of innovation. So if we can tap into that potential and let's say bring in more funding into it, and also to support our people from the things that they innovate, I think we can do better as a country from there.
Thank you so much, Abel. That is well articulated. That is amazing. Thank you all for the feedback that I am receiving so far. I am enjoying our program so far. It is amazing. My next question
Okay,
now
can
has to
I?
do oh, Brian.
Yes. I picking up from what Mr. Harrison was saying. I feel also the education system needs to be revised.
Okay.
Look, you know that by natural order, when a person or when a child is born, he has a curious mind. The mind of a child is full of curiosity. When they look at something, it amazes them. They want to know what is happening there. But you realize that our education system destroys that curiosity in them of learning. Okay, so I feel that the education system, just from grade 1 to grade 12, it needs to be revised. Why should we take 10 subjects for what? Like, what is your path? Of course, I've heard certain things like here in this country, someone does, like, you don't know what you're going to become in the future, so you are piled up with things, so many things, because you don't know your pathway. But I feel it's quite unnecessary. And Yeah, I mean, I don't feel we should destroy the curious mind of a human being by default. Okay, I think we should entertain it, make it work.
Okay. So this is going to be a hot debate. We have a question that's just directed to our education system. So I will not comment on what O'Brien has said, but I love your line of thinking. It feels like I have already shared all my questions with you. Anyway, speaking of the education system, let's look at universities. Most of us here are university going students, and we are not here to condemn our universities. We are not here to condemn how our country has been running its educational system. No, but we are here for the change. Now, let's speak about universities. The university that you go to, where you pay those tuition fees each semester to get an education. Okay, here's my question. Do you think universities can play an active role in promoting the STEM agenda? Now, this question is directed to Edwin Simfugwe. However, as I said earlier on, we are all free to add on, okay, to the question. So, Edwin, please take the question. Do you think universities can play an
You
active
think
role
universities can play an active role
in promoting the STEM
Yeah,
agenda?
definitely.
in promoting the STEM agenda?
Yeah, thank you very much for that interesting question. To start with, my answer is a yes. Universities can actually play a cardinal role in promoting the STEM agenda. Um, in a sense that when you look at universities like NOTEC has been producing innovative engineers and technologists in the country so far. Yeah, because it like only deals with STEM-based fields. Specifically, it is for STEM-based fields, unlike other universities. So yeah, universities can play a huge role in seeing to it that the STEM agenda is actually promoted. For example, let me put it in this way: technology at all phase is actually associated with science, and science is also associated with development. So in when those universities, when the universities promote the STEM agenda, they actually also promote development at the same time. So I'm actually agree. I agree to that universities play a cardinal role. It's just that the Zambian graduates are underrated. Like they are not given much time to express their skills once they are out of university. That's the only problem. But if we believe in ourselves as Zambians and we give the jobs to Zambian graduates, I think they can do a good job. They can do a good job. Yeah, that's my contribution on that.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would
Okay.
like to add
Is
on
there
to what
anybody else
Edwin
who would
has
like
just
to add
said?
on to what Edwin has been saying?
So Louis, to just add on what Edwin was saying, I think the STEM advancement, it's very much
Sorry.
possible, and
Edwin,
some
can you
people
mute
can
your
achieve.
mic?
How,
Sorry, Edwin, can you mute your mic?
hello, are you able to get me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So, all right. So what I was talking about, the STEM agenda, it's something that can be achieved. However, I feel both parties have to play a role. The
Okay.
university can, help the students carry out these experiments and try everything. But I feel it's also up to us, the students, how much we are willing and how we really want, like to innovate something. Because I feel
Okay.
we can't be like in a place where there are all these materials and everything around, and young people are not willing like to study, they're not willing like to explore new things. So I feel it's a two-way thing for us to create that society that's advanced. It's also the young people to take up this role. It's up to us also, to go to these people who are in charge of our universities. These people are in charge of all these things that we need. Like, we have to be on them. So I feel it's also us young people who have to play an active role. I've been watching some documentaries of young people, who've innovated things. And some of them, when you see them, they come from typical areas. Like places where you don't even think there are no research labs, there are no labs and everything like that. But because they are critical thinkers, and they have come up with these ideas, and it's the small ideas that they have that have been worked on and have been advanced. So I feel it's a two-way thing. Young people also have to take up the role, they have to be in the driving seat if we are to see this achievement in the advancement of the STEM agenda.
Okay. Thank you for that contribution, Nora Shabu. Thank you so much for that. We have been 50 minutes now in our program. Before we take a short break, I have a question directed to Abel Fumpa. Now, we are still looking at education and STEM. Okay. The next question goes, what qualities do STEM students have upon graduation? So you have been in school for 7 years, for 4 whole years, and now it's time to graduate. I'm going to compare the ordinary Zambian students to what we should be. Okay, Abel Fumba, as it now, what do you think about this? What qualities do STEM students have upon graduation?
Okay, thank you very much, Louis. So to come in, uh, I think on that one, it is very relative in the sense that I think each and every student upon graduation has different qualities, but of course there are certain expected qualities that the student is supposed to have, or rather the graduate upon graduation. And I think that is where now the problem comes in, because we have students that are graduating even after pursuing a STEM career, who are not able to tap into the potential that the education has given them. Because, education is an enhancer. So you may be talented, you may have the idea, but education enhances your critical thinking. But unfortunately, we have graduates, like I mentioned earlier, who are graduating from these institutions without any knowledge. By knowledge, I mean they have not tapped into the potential that education gave them. So I'll give you this practical example, especially at the university where I am. Not that I'm discrediting my university, but this is something that I've observed. And of course, I've been trying to make efforts to engage some of the people, especially in the Engineering Institute of Zambia CBU chapter, to try and see how we can move forward. But nevertheless, so this is one of the challenges, for example, that I've seen. Over the past few years, I'm sure we've heard of the multiple closures that the Copper Belt University has had. And due to the closure that the Copper Belt University has had, we've experienced what I would call the unlearning. Unlearning in the sense that the students, for example, who are supposed to start their attachments upon the completion of their the third year of study, especially engineering students. So I'm speaking from the perspective of engineering student. So there's this program at the Copper Belt University where upon graduation, every student is supposed to have gone for attachments for about 14 weeks. So due to the unforeseen closures, for whatever reasons, of course, we know we have so many reasons that have led to the closures, but due to the closures, we've experienced a situation where we are now having students who are in their 5th year and they have never gone to any company for their attachments. Attachments are there to expose the students to the industrial work, or just to give them a glimpse of what to expect in the industry. But unfortunately, that has not been the case, for example, at my school, due to the fact that we've experienced closures. So I think we, as a university or as a country, I think we should start planning for, or rather looking beyond the problems that come to us. Because I'm sure we are also able, you agree with me that the COVID-19 is also one of the factors that exposed our weaknesses as a country, especially with regards to education. We were only able to tap into the e-learning platforms due to the what? To the COVID-19 pandemic. Something that we would have done even before the COVID-19, would have tapped into that, for example, during closures, so that students at least can have knowledge even during their closures. But that is something that we're just forced to. It was a plan B for the universities. Because over the past years, for example, in my first year at CBU, we spent close to 4 months without learning anything. Imagine, we spent close to 4 months, but we have professors, we have so many educated people who I think should have come up with an innovative means of at least trying to educate us, trying to impart knowledge in us, especially for the fact that we're pursuing STEM programs. So education should not only be something that we attain when we are in school. It should be something that should go beyond school. Even at home, they should come up with means. For example, they should be innovative enough so that at least even by the time our students are graduating, or even by the time that we will be graduating, we will be fed up with the knowledge that we are trying to get. So I think the problem is beyond us, but then we can also play a part. What I mean by playing a part is, as students as well, I think we have this thing of being too relaxed. Uh, like I said, I'll be talking because I'm talking from experience, based on the situation that I've been the situations that I've been experiencing at CBU. So I'm talking from that point of view. Uh, you find that usually when there's a closure, students have this tendency of being reluctant. When you close, it's done. You cannot do a research on, for example, the new latest development in your field of study. You cannot do a research on even just, the simplest of things, what is happening around the world. Students can't do that. So I think as students as well, we have this tendency of being reluctant, and I think we can do more as students. We should tap into our potential. As I believe, for me, I believe no one is dull. Dull may sound as harsh, but I believe no one is dull. We can all do something at the end of the day.
Right.
So yeah, so I might okay, let me just conclude. So in my concluding remarks, I think the engineering sector, what should we expect from a graduate? Our expectation is that by the time someone is graduating, they should be able to at least have a minimum knowledge in their fields of study. They should be able, for example, if you're an electrical engineer, at least to make a simulation of something that is related to your field of study, or for example, to come up with something innovative, or at least to have the knowledge of what happens in the industry. So that is our expectation. But unfortunately, that has not been happening, of course, due to many unforeseen reasons, and of course, foreseen reasons, like for example, the closures that we've been
Okay.
having at the Copper Belt University. Sorry.
Thank you so much for that, Abel. Before we go on a short break, I'm just going to ask Mr. Harrison Wenda to tell us what he thinks. You have been through engineering school and now you are there in society. You have graduated as an engineer. Mr. Harrison Wenda, thus far, what should we have by the time we are done with our school that takes us to be the engineers Zambia needs?
All right, I think come again. The line wasn't clear when you I had your question.
Okay, my question is what qualities should STEM students have upon graduation? Say an engineering student like you were before and now you're in the working field. What qualities should we have as STEM students upon graduation?
Okay. Am I audible? Am I audible enough? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are very clear.
Okay, very good. Okay, so unfortunately, this is usually what happens to graduates from STEM related fields, especially from the Zambian universities that are around, you'll find an engineer who has little practical knowledge about engineering. You see, somebody has studied for 5 years, let's say they have studied electrical engineering, but when you tell them, when you ask them what is voltage, for instance, they will be unable to tell you what voltage is, but it is something that they have been using in their calculations um, uh, um, uh, um, along the course of their studies. You see, you find I've worked with engineers who don't know how to solder a diode, for instance. They don't know which one is a cathode, which one is an anode. They have no idea. You see, so unfortunately, our universities are more theoretical than practical. You see, as long as you pass your tests, regardless of whether you copied, whether you only crammed answers before the exam, as long as you pass your test, you're going to graduate. And the problem with that is right after the test, we forget what we studied. So that is why most of our STEM graduates um, can only retain 20%. That's my view, that's my opinion. You can only retain 20%. Most of them can only retain 20% of what they studied. You find somebody with a title engineer, but they know nothing about engineering. You find someone with the title of a doctor, but they know little about medicine. You see, you find you have a doctor. You ask them, the doctor from CBU, for instance. You ask him what causes pimples. That doctor fails to give you a proper explanation of a very simple answer. So simple question. So in the industry, that's one of the things that we see from graduates. So how to surmount that is STEM students should read beyond the curriculum. And when I say read beyond the curriculum, I mean read about the facts, read about the facts in your field, not just the technical calculations. For instance, if you're a mechanical engineer, read more, read about the history of mechanical engineering, read about the history of cars, read about the history of airplanes, read about learn to appreciate the basic mechanisms of certain things. So it is that extra reading that enables a STEM student to become a very practical graduate. So lastly, the other thing that is observed from STEM graduates in our country is the inability to apply what they have learned. Here you're going to find a scientist, for instance, a physicist, somebody who has studied physics from Yunza. They know the formulas. You can ask them to define what is quantum mechanics. They will define quantum mechanics properly. They know their field very well, but they can't apply it. They can't apply what they have learned to everyday situations, to everyday problems, and they can't use what they have learned creatively. So what they are essentially, because of that inability to apply what they have learned, are monuments. Okay, monuments waiting to be hired, waiting to be used. You see, so number one, a STEM graduate should be well vested in what in their field. Should be able to practically apply what they have learned. And then number two, a STEM graduate should be innovative and they should be able to use their imagination with in conjunction with what they have studied. So those are the two things that are missing, but those are the cardinal things that are expected from a STEM graduate, imagination especially.
Oh, okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Harrison Wenda. Unfortunately, our moderator got cut off due to network. So we're going to take a break for 5 minutes, and then we're going to be back so that we continue. By then, she's definitely going to have restored her network. She's actually back. So we're going to take a break briefly for 5 minutes. and then we will be back and continue with the SAYS Virtual Summit. And for everyone who's watching, please stay tuned and stay glued as we continue with our summit. So 5 minutes break, and we are going to be back again.
In bid to find solutions to the economic, social, and financial problems that surround the people of Zambia, the Science Exploration Zambia took up the role of advancing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Science Exploration Zambia, also known as the SEZ, says, is a group of multi-skilled people with a common interest of science development. The SEZ was founded on the ethics of science on the 1st of January 2019 in Lusaka, Zambia. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we desire to see communities transformed through the concept of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We desire to see communities full of innovators who will be able to solve day-to-day problems through STEM. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we train and mentor young people and equip them with skills. In bid to find solutions to the economic, social, and financial problems that surround the people of Zambia, the Science Exploration Zambia took up the role of advancing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Science Exploration Zambia, also known as the SEZ, says, is a group of multi-skilled people with a common interest of science development. The SEZ was founded on the ethics of science on the 1st of January 2019 in Lusaka, Zambia. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we desire to see communities transformed through the concept of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We desire to see communities full of innovators who will be able to solve day-to-day problems through STEM. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we train and mentor young people and equip them with skills in science. As part of our broader approach to attaining our goals, we go into schools through outreach programs, we have mentorship sessions, and we conduct sensitization in relations to STEM education. The Science Exploration Zambia too has platforms for online learning and project development. As mentioned earlier, our desire is to build a community through the STEM agenda, and we can only do this when we approach science. Here are some of our core values: fairness, education, research, invention, creativity, excellence, innovation, collaboration, organized skepticism, and stewardship. We are science, and together we mold our tomorrow. In bid to find solutions to the economic, social, and financial problems that surround the people of Zambia, the Science Exploration Zambia took up the role of advancing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Science Exploration Zambia, also known as the SEZ, says, is a group of multi-skilled people with a common interest of science development. The SEZ was founded on the ethics of science on the 1st of January 2019 in Lusaka, Zambia. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we desire to see communities transformed through the concept of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We desire to see communities full of innovators who will be able to solve day-to-day problems through STEM. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we train and mentor young people and equip them with skills in science. As part of our broader approach to attaining our goals, we go into schools through outreach programs, we have mentorship sessions, and we conduct sensitization in relations to STEM education. The Science Exploration Zambia too has platforms for online learning and project development. As mentioned earlier, our desire is to build a community through the STEM agenda. And we can only do this when we approach science. Here are some of our core values: fairness, education, research, invention, creativity, excellence, innovation, collaboration, organized skepticism, and stewardship. We are science, and together we mold our tomorrow. In bid to find solutions to the economic, social, and financial problems that surround the people of Zambia, the Science Exploration Zambia took up the role of advancing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Science Exploration Zambia, also known as the SEZ, says, is a group of multi-skilled people with a common interest of science development. The SEZ was founded on the ethics of science on the 1st of January 2019 in Lusaka, Zambia. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we desire to see communities transformed through the concept of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We desire to see communities full of innovators who will be able to solve day-to-day problems through STEM. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we train and mentor young people and equip them with skills in science. As part of our broader approach to attaining our goals, we go into schools through outreach programs, we have mentorship sessions, and we conduct sensitization in relations to STEM education. The Science Exploration Zambia too has platforms for online learning and project development. As mentioned earlier, our desire is to build a community through the STEM agenda. And we can only do this when we approach science. Here are some of our core values: fairness, education, research, invention, creativity, excellence, innovation, collaboration, organized skepticism, and stewardship. We are science, and together we mold our tomorrow. In bid to find solutions to the economic, social, and financial problems that surround the people of Zambia, the Science Exploration Zambia took up the role of advancing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Science Exploration Zambia, also known as the SEZ, says, is a group of multi-skilled people with a common interest of science development. The SEZ was founded on the ethics of science on the 1st of January 2019 in Lusaka, Zambia. At the
Yes, Louis. Okay. So we are back now. Yes, Louis, you can start. You can take over now. Can you guys get me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it seems like we're having problems with our moderator. She's having a bit of a challenge with her network. So we're trying to get her on board. I think she's going to be back so she continues with, with the questions. That's why we took time with the adverts. Apologies. Yes, Louis, are we
Me? Can
set
you all
now?
hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yeah, yeah.
You are audible
Can
enough.
hear you.
Cut. Definitely a problem with her network. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, okay. I'm trying to. Is it okay if I just play the advert again whilst I try to get a hold of her?
In bid to find solutions to the economic, social, and financial problems that surround the people of Zambia, the Science Exploration Zambia took up the role of advancing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Science Exploration Zambia, also known as the SEZ, says, is a group of multi-skilled people with a common interest of science development. The SEZ was founded on the ethics of science on the 1st of January 2019 in Lusaka, Zambia. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we desire to see communities transformed through the concept of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We desire to see communities full of innovators who will be able to solve day-to-day problems through STEM. At the Science Exploration Zambia, we train and mentor young people and equip them with skills in science. As part of our broader approach to attaining our goals, we go into schools through outreach programs, we have mentorship sessions, and we conduct sensitization in relations to STEM education. The Science Exploration Zambia too has platforms for online learning and project development. As mentioned earlier, our desire is to build a community through the STEM agenda, and we can only do this when we approach science. Here are some of our core values: fairness, education, research, invention, creativity, excellence, innovation, collaboration, organized skepticism, and stewardship. We are science, and together we mold our tomorrow. In bid to find solutions to the economic, social, and financial problems that surround the people of Zambia, the Science Exploration Zambia took up the role of advancing science, technology,
Can you hear me?
engineering,
Can you see me?
and mathematics. The Science Exploration Zambia, also known as the SEZ,
Can hear you.
says,
I can see
is a
you.
group of
Yes, Louis. Okay, you can now pick it up.
Pardon me for that, but welcome back to all of us. I hope our internet connections are okay. Can you hear me clearly? Can you clearly.
Can hear you.
Okay, let's dive right into it, shall we? We're looking at our education system and STEM, how far we are with our educational system and STEM, and so far we have not really received some good response, but it is the truth. However, there is space for change. Okay, Mr. Harrison Wenda, I am going to ask you the next question. All right, and it goes: looking at the engineering field, today we have local engineers, okay? Yet we hardly see our local engineers during road constructions. Yep. Or during project development or management. My question, Mr. Harrison Wenda, is do you think our local engineers are well equipped for the job? If not, what is it that we as the locals are lacking that we need to get the job done? Mr. Harrison, did you hear my question?
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Hello. Am I audible? Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
you are audible.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so this is actually a misconception. It's a misconception. There is this general misconception that uh, the majority of the engineering works in our country are done by foreigners. It's actually a misconception. The majority of the engineering works are done by Zambian engineers in foreign companies, okay, in foreign owned companies. So, for instance, for road construction, for example, you'll find a Chinese company like Avic doing roads. But what these companies do is that they come with their own experts who supervise the project, but most of the engineering works, the ground works, the design works, the junior supervision works are actually done by Zambian engineers. That this is something that I've experienced firsthand. Before I started Creation Dynamics, before I became an entrepreneur, I was working for a Chinese telecommunications company by the name of Huawei. So I worked for Huawei for a while as a telecoms engineer, and our department was mainly manned by Zambians, by Zambian engineers. So we're about 5 Zambian engineers and 1 Chinese engineer who was our supervisor. And it was the same thing in the rest of the department. So most of the engineers were Zambian. So now because it's a Chinese company, people who have um, this misconception to say it is the Chinese who are doing the jobs, but this is the Chinese who are doing the job, but it's actually Zambian engineers. So that is one thing that people don't understand. Wherever you see a foreign-owned company in the country, know that they are 80%, about 80% of the workforce there is Zambian, and it is only 20% that is foreign. So that is number one. And then number two, to answer your question, Zambian engineers equipped to do the jobs that that you have alluded to. The answer is yes and no. Um, from experience, when I joined Huawei, there was a very big difference between Zambian engineers and Chinese engineers. Chinese engineers were well vested in many software applications, and that is not something that our local universities emphasize. Like at CB, when I trained as an engineer there was little emphasis on software and many software packages that are used in the engineering field. So when I began to work there, I had to work extra hard to catch up. I had to work extra hard to be at par with the engineers, Chinese engineers that were trained. Sorry about that. The good thing is Zambian engineers are trainable. They are very trainable, and it is very easy for them to adapt to the work culture, to the work systems, and to the roles that are required of them. And actually, engineers trained from local universities perform very, very well. So when you see a road out there, when you see good internet connectivity out there, know that it's actually the Zambian engineers that are behind that. The ones who are working behind the scenes in
Okay, seems like he's having a bit of a problem with internet connection, but we have heard for ourselves today. We have 80% of our locals on the field and 20 of the foreign, a little
foreign
bit in
on.
front of the screen. Okay. Mr. Harrison Wenda, we cannot hear you. Seems as though you have lost connection or something. But you have answered our question, and I am grateful for that. Brian, before you logged in, Mr. Harrison Wenda was explaining how when we see the Chinese on the roads, when we see the Indians, according to him, from experience as an engineer, there is 80% of the Zambian force or engineers in the background, and there is 20% of the foreigners on the big screen. So we mostly see the 20% and claim, okay, our Zambians are not, you know, equipped as they are, yet they are in the background. This is going to be a mega discussion for later on. But my next question is actually yours, O'Brien, and I am glad that you have logged in on time. Okay, we're looking at technology. All right. Question is, technology has transformed many aspects of how people engage with learning. What do you see as the greatest opportunity that is related to technology in science education? O'Brien? O'Brien, are you with us? Did you hear that?
Doubts.
Okay, we have lost him. We have lost him. Mr. Wenda, you seem to be back. Thank you for your explanation before you were logged out. I have actually learned a thing or two. Okay. Now I had a question relating to technology. And I had directed this to O'Brien. Unfortunately, he has been logged out. But it is a pressing issue, and I want to ask this. It is going to be open to all of us to answer. Okay. What do you see as the greatest opportunity related to technology in science education? This will be an open question since we have lost the one who should have answered it. Anybody?
Okay, maybe I can take it up. So, in my own view, the greatest opportunity that we have when it comes to technology and science is that we have the power to make anything possible. We have the power to make anything possible with technology. You see, the ultimate goal of technology is trade. The ultimate goal of technology is trade. The ultimate goal of technology is enterprise. The ultimate goal of technology is to create money, to create opportunities, to create a living. Okay, so the ultimate goal of technology is not just for fun, to say, no, we have created rockets and they are flying and it's fun, things that we have sparks and people are clapping. That's not the aim of technology. The aim of technology is not necessarily to entertain us. The aim of technology is to create trade. Commerce rules technology. The reason why we we do all this technical stuff. The reason why engineering exists ultimately is to create money, is to create opportunities, is to create jobs, is to create livelihoods for people, and underneath that, it's to create to make life easier for people. But when you make life easier for people, you have to trade that solution for something. So ultimately, it's a money related thing, it's a commerce related thing, it's a trade related thing. So the opportunity that we have with science is that even with the science knowledge that we have, it is very easy for us.
Pardon us, Mr. Harrison.
Okay.
We are losing you. You're not too audible. Can you just repeat what you said?
Okay, all right. Can you get me now?
Yes, we can hear you. So you're talking about how technology is meant to create wealth.
Yes, technology.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate goal of technology is to create wealth. It's to create. The ultimate goal of technology is trade and enterprise and commerce. The reason why phones are created, phones were not created to remain in museums. They are created for sale. Cars are created for sale. Airplanes were created for sale. You see, so with science or with STEM, we have got these two that can create as much commerce, as much opportunity, as much trade as possible. So we have got a trade generating to an infinite of infinite capacity in our hands. That's a great opportunity that we have. So with little science education, anyone can create anything that can become a big industry. Even pegs, for instance, simple things like pegs. Okay, there's the physics or the science that yeah, that is involved in creating pegs is very basic. But somebody can start an industry that just create pegs. There are $1 million companies that create pegs out there. Nails, for instance, a nail is a very simple thing. Paper clips are very simple things. Straws are very simple things that operate on very basic grade 5 science. Okay, but because someone applied that science there, they have created opportunities. They've opened a company that makes paper clips. Okay, and those companies employ a lot of people just because of the simple science that has enabled them to create paper clips. So the biggest opportunity that we have with STEM is an infinite capacity to create wealth, to create opportunities, and to drive commerce. So as Zambia, since we want to be a rich country, we shouldn't look very far. We shouldn't even look at the mines. We shouldn't look at growing more maize. We should look at the simple science that we have. It is the simple science that we have that is going to generate wealth for us. When we apply that simple science in just making very simple and basic things, for example, we don't need to make laptops. We don't need to necessarily make phones for us to be very wealthy. Even just the basic things like paper clips, like nails, like straws, for instance, like pens are enough. So that's the opportunity. That's where the opportunity lies, in my opinion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to cut you a bit short. We are almost running out of time. We're going to move on to our next phrase. Okay, I read a comment that say that a STEM school should look for connections that make learning relevant for students. This can be done by identifying professionals, institutions, businesses, industry, and government entities that can be partners for real world training. That's a good comment there, huh? I'm going to ask this next question to two of you from the panel. I'm going to ask this to Abel and Edwin, okay? If you were in a position to change people's approach to STEM in your community, what would you do? Abel, you can start. Abel, I cannot hear you. Can you speak louder, please? We cannot hear you, Abel. Perhaps it's the speakers you're wearing now. We cannot hear you.
He says maybe Edwin should take it up and then maybe let him try to fix his seats so Edwin can take
All
it
right,
up.
sure thing. Edwin, you can take
All
it
right.
up.
All right. Thank you very much for that interesting question. Uh, First and foremost, you have to identify what people loves the most in order to spark that curiosity in what you want them to do. For example, we are talking about STEM. So if you want people out there, people in the community, to start to enjoy STEM, or rather to venture into a STEM-based field, first and foremost, you have to identify what will those people love that will spark that curiosity to STEM. So first and foremost, for example, if you want you first start identifying high school pupils. You go to high school, introduce things such as jets, introduce topics, debates on STEM. You start that is a way of advocating about STEM. So it all starts from there. It starts from quiz competition, jets competition, debates. So that way you'll be able to generate that information, or rather to speak to the mass people out there, to the community. So by doing so, they'll start having that keen interest in STEM. You know, they'll start having that keen interest in STEM because you are involving them in activities. For example, even football. You just go to the community there, even start a tournament on football. But that tournament is STEM. It's on STEM based thing. Yeah. By doing so, you actually engage the community into STEM. I think that's my opinion. That's what I think. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Edwin. Thank you for that. It reminds me of something that Harrison Wenda had mentioned earlier on. Make STEM exciting. Make children enjoy this. Abel, what do you have to say on this?
Okay, so yeah, I think I am now connected. Can you hear me?
Very
Yes, we
clear.
can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think for me, the first stage of developing STEM is right in the house, especially for the children. We have to identify what their interests are, and if children perhaps show any interest in STEM, I think that is where the development starts. So if we can nurture children, especially from the early stages of their life, and then help them develop the skill or develop the talent or whatever innovation they come up. I think from there we can pick it up and then it goes on until it reaches a stage where we can sell it out. Just like Mr. Harrison Mwenda put it, you know, the science that we are doing, at the end of the day, someone is making the money out of it. Even just writing a simple basic book, a science book, someone out there is making money. So at the end of the day, what we should be aiming for is, yes, we need to create a solution, but we should also look at it from the point of view of saying, yes, I will make a solution, but I also have to earn a living. So if we can develop these talents from the early stages and then develop them into something that we can sell out to the world, not only in Zambia, but to the world, I think from there we can move forward. Then the next thing also is we need to take away this mentality of saying science is hard or mathematics is hard or technology is not there in Zambia. You know, only the Mark Zuckerbergs are able to create Facebook. Only Jeff Bezos is there to sell out his Amazon. I think that is a mentality that we are supposed to take away. I'll give you this practical example of why as well I actually think we have less number of people pursuing these STEM subjects or STEM courses. Part of the reason is the fact that we have less people that are being trained for the STEM programs. And the reason is because there's this mentality, especially in high schools, to say science is hard. So, you know, if people right from the onset declare the fact that science is hard and they cannot go further, it means that we have a shortage in the number of people that proceed to what? To these higher learning institutions to pursue STEM programs. And then looking at the general population, that also creates an imbalance in the ratios between the what? The people that are trying to go into STEM and the people that are trying to promote STEM. So if we can change the mentality right from high school and tell people that no, science is not hard, science is something that is manageable. We can pursue this path as a country. This is a path that almost every country is taking. So let us go into it and then develop it. I think from there, even as people go into the university, people will have the right mindset to say they are not at school to get a paper. They are not at school, of course, to get employed or for a name, but they are there to do what? To create solutions, even as they are in the science what? In the science field. So again, from there, let me just add on. So we started from the onset where we develop the mindset. Then we go into high school also, high school, primary, and junior secondary. We enhance the knowledge again. We add more knowledge to them and tell them that this is something that is attainable. We can pursue it. So from there again, we go on to the university level. You know, the university level, I think there's this mindset, especially which most of us, I'm sure, and
Abel,
including myself.
Abel, I'll ask you to just wrap it up, please. Please conclude.
Okay, yeah. So let me conclude. Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is let us change the mindset. It all begins in the mind. So if we're able to change the mindset of people and tell them that science is something that is pursuable, we can pursue it, and it is something that is not hard, or it is not something that is just there on paper. It can be used to make a living or to earn a living for the nation. I think we can head in the right direction. So let us change the mindset. Basically, it's a mindset. Let us tell people that science is something
Okay.
that is attainable. Not only science, of course, mathematics, technology, and engineering. It is not something that is hard.
Exactly. So it's
So
all
yeah.
in the mind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Before I ask the last two questions, yes, we are coming to an end. I want to ask Caleb Monemo, are there any comments we have from people who are watching? I noticed one that just flipped out. Do we have any more comments you can read out? Okay, if we
Okay.
have a comment from Hamlet Mukue, would you like to read this out, Caleb?
Okay. He says in Zambia, the government overlooks scientific advancements. Our government only concentrates on building roads, nice building, and co-ed development, when in the actual sense, it's just a snippet of development. They make it a big deal. Uh, they they make it a big deal. We have a lot of people with ideas in Zambia, but lack funding from the government. Look at the people who come from outside, e.g., China, to do things in Zambia. They just have ideas and they win contracts. Okay.
Okay. Thank you
Uh,
so much for your contribution.
yeah, and the
Anything more, Caleb?
rest,
Anything you want to say?
not really questions, but just okay, uh, powerful, amazing, yeah, and yeah, just some people that are joining us, that are watching, and some mentions there. Super excited for this one. Uh, yeah, and some people mentioning their friends. So on the comment section, I think that's what we have. So you can proceed with the
Okay.
questions that you have for the panelists.
Thank you so much. Here are my closing questions. We're looking at resources. O'Brien, I want you to answer this for us. How can we access resources to enhance the STEM programs in our society? Mr. O'Brien, please take this.
Okay. How can we get resources? The first thing
Yes. How
is,
can
we have so many ideas of the things that we can do. For instance, if we have the way this is the panelist here, we have so many ideas that we are talking about here to develop science, to develop that we can, for instance, come together, which I feel people really don't like. You come together, you can do those ideas together, and now people see what you are doing. Okay, you don't really have to go and look. People don't give you resources by asking from them just like that. They want to see first what you have done. Okay, at least you do something with the ideas that you have of the projects that you have. It's very easy for you to get resources to ask from anybody. Okay, having already started something. So I feel that is one thing. The other thing is, I mean, um, we are various people who are doing um, various works, getting our monies that we are getting from whatsoever that we are doing. As a people, you can, two or three people, we can come together. You want to make this kind of a project, start saving. Okay, it's very easy for three people or four people to be saving together. You, you say in 1 year's time, you want to save to this, you want to do this. That is very much possible. Okay, we can do it, which I feel most people don't really do that because they want short-term things, you know. They want it to mature early so that they can start eating money, or he wants to do this alone so that he can have such and such a position. But I feel if we can change those kinds of mindset, it's not just about the government. What of us, the people? Are we like us, the people? What can we do outside just the government? Okay, I feel those are things that we can do to get our own resources and do what we want to do.
Thank you so much for that, O'Brien. I love how you say it's not just about the government. In as much as the government has its place, okay, it has something to do. We too have something to do that we can start as a community. Thank you so much for that, O'Brien. My closing question, Mr. Harrison Wenda, please do answer it for us. We have discussed this afternoon. We have, stimulated ourselves. We are excited by what we have discussed this afternoon. The question is, how do we sustain this momentum? In the beginning, it can be very exciting, like, oh wow, we're making robots now. But then along the way, when we want to progress and do new things, how do we keep this momentum of STEM running? Mr. Harrison Wenda, please take this.
There are several ways in which the momentum can be kept alive. There isn't one way. We can think of 40 ways, we can think of 50 ways, but among them, one of the ways is to find a way to reward science, to find a way to reward people who are making strides in the STEM field, women, for example, children, for example, and um, if people are rewarded properly for their initiatives, for the things that they are doing, many people are going to take interest. Many people are going to be motivated to do more and more in the STEM field. So that is one of the things that we can do to keep the momentum alive. We need to begin to reward individuals, companies, organizations like says. For instance, we need to promote such organizations in order to keep the momentum alive. Another way in which the momentum can be kept alive, apart from the reward system that I've implemented, is we need to have more summits like this. I know we're having a virtual one because of the COVID pandemic, but we need to have more summits, more activities, more hackathons. You see, when you go to other countries, you find them doing hackathons. You find them having events where people make things. You have maker fairs where amateur innovators, inventors come together and display the things that they've invented. So we need a lot of science-related events, and not just events that are targeted at professionals, but those that are targeted at the general public. Mind you, most of the scientific advancements, most of the innovations that the human race has seen never came from professionals. The Wright brothers who invented the modern aircraft were were high school dropouts. You see, Henry Ford was also a high school dropout. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, never even finished high school. You see, so it is the general public. It is people who just have a zeal for innovation that we should also target. So those are my two contributions on how we can improve. We can keep the momentum going. Number one, let's begin to reward STEM, and number two, let us have more events like this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. It has been an amazing afternoon with all of you. Before we close up, I want a contribution from each one of you. Please make it brief. If it is one sentence, let it be one sentence. To the panelists, okay? What would you like every Zambian out there to think of STEM from henceforth, from this moment? We can start with Abel. Go ahead.
Okay, so
thank you very much.
In conclusion,
thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you very much for the opportunity. As they alluded to, technology at any phase is mostly associated with development at any phase is mostly associated with technology. And technology occurs where there is advancement in science. Therefore, science, technology, and development are all associated together. You all bear with me that countries that have a strong foundation in science and technology are seem to develop faster than countries that do not have. Therefore, I would like a country at large, Africa at large, to take science and technology serious, because it is through it that our country and the continent can develop massively.
Okay,
thank you very much. That's my
Abel,
contribution.
your contribution, please. What would you like Zambians to think of STEM as? Go ahead.
Okay, so STEM, we should look at STEM as an opportunity. We should look at STEM as the groundbreaking innovation that takes us forward, because it is from STEM that countries, just like Edwin put it, most countries that have a strong technological background or a strong background in science and mathematics have proved to be the countries that are doing well economically, not only economically, but also in other areas of society. So I think we should look at it as an opportunity. Let us take it up as a country, and I think we can move forward once we establish ourselves as a STEM believing country, as I can put it.
Thank you for that. Mr. Harrison Wenda, your closing remarks. What would you like Zambians to think of STEM from henceforth after watching this summit of ours? What would you like Zambians to think of STEM from now on? Your mic is mute. Please unmute your mic. Thank you.
Their money depends on it. Their money depends on it. So we need to learn to associate STEM with money. It's not just an activity for us to pass. It's not just an activity for us to look smart. Money depends on STEM. Your money as an individual depends on STEM. Our money as a country depends on STEM. So when you think STEM, think money.
Okay, thank you for that. O'Brien, please close it up for us. Take the floor.
Okay, do not venture into STEM for only the purpose of getting an income. As get into STEM because you want to exploit, because it's fun. That way you're going to have so many ideas, you're going to question so many things, and you come up with so many solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. It has been an amazing afternoon with all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our 2020 virtual summit with the Science Exploration Zambia. From me, it is a goodbye, Louis Moema. I was happy to be a part of you. Until next time, Caleb Monemo, you can please sum it up. You can thank our guests and everybody watching. And Caleb, take the floor.
Okay. So thank you very much, Louis, for actually doing a very good job this afternoon as our moderator. It's actually been brilliant. And to our guests, our panelists, Mr. Harrison Wendasa, thank you very much for sparing your time despite having a busy schedule just to come and speak to us this afternoon. Very, very much honored to have had you on our platform this afternoon. Very, very thankful. Mr. Abel Fumpa, thank you very much, sir, sparing your time despite your busy schedule, coming on our platform, just pouring out yourself and just talking with so much passion concerning STEM. Mr. O'Brien, thank you very much. God bless you. Very, very grateful that you spared your time just to come on this platform and just speak to us concerning STEM. Mr. Edwin Simfukwe, another brilliant young man. Thank you very much for pouring out yourself and just letting the world know that Zambia truly has a future in relation with STEM. So I think that's all that I have to say, and I will personally contact our guests just to thank you for sparing your time and just coming on this platform. And some of the things that you can expect before the year ends, we're definitely going to be having some programs as well concerning some of our podcasts that we usually have on Wednesday and Friday. Louis is going to be having it's not really going to be a summit, but something interesting that's going to be more like this same virtual summit that's going to be coming soon to your screens again. We're going to be able to watch again. It's going to have an involvement of women and some of the people that have come on board this year on our podcast and most of our programs. So it's going to be more like of a compilation of what has actually been happening throughout the year at Science Exploration Zambia. But to all our viewers, thank you very much for the massive support. You've actually been supporting us from day one, and we are grateful that we had this big mega event, Says Virtue Summit, the STEM Agenda 2020. It's been brilliant. It's been Caleb Munemo, your host, and our panelists, Mr. Harrison Wenda, Engineer Simfukwe, Abel Fumpa, O'Brien, and Liu Muwema. Till next year, have a brilliant afternoon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.